What's up, guys? It's been about 8 months now that I've had the 2017 Tahoe PPV. Wanted to give a little bit of update. I got a lot of questions on it, which I believe I answered all of them. If I didn't, feel free to shoot a comment to the original video or this one. Anyways, update video. 8 months into the 2017 Tahoe PPV. I am now at 7,748 miles. Fixing to jump on a drive here, drive to work, give a little update on the vehicle. Let me see if I can flip this over and give you I can't, so maybe I'll shoot later. So we did do a couple things to the vehicle itself, just a couple things. Overall, vehicle's been great. No major issues. Couple things that we did is I got the vehicle, I believe, in July of 2017. Obviously, end of August 2017, I'm sorry. July 2017, end of August 2017. I live in the Houston area. We had Harvey. My line of work is actually public safety. And I did end up obviously going to work for Harvey, and I was at my office in our emergency management center for about 6 days. Could have been a lot worse, you know, and we pulled through it. The Tahoe was actually utilized during Harvey, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But some of the things we did do for the vehicle itself is we added some emergency lights. What I'll do is I'll probably take a video of those later and just add them into the video. Our upfitters, our local upfitters that we utilize for the city I work for, they just put a simple switch and they put some lights up in the front grille. They're hidden. They look really nice. They did a really good job at just making them look tight and fit. The Tahoe PPV actually comes with an integrated interface when you buy the PPV package, and it just takes a little lead wire that goes to the back somewhere that tells the back lights, hey, you're in emergency mode, you're in woo mode, whatever you want to call it, and the lights in the rear do their own thing. Other things that we did to the vehicle, I actually added a dash cam. I purchased a Rexing V1 off of Amazon. It was about $100, and then I added the hidden accessory cable, which I'll take a picture and everything of that. That's been great. It runs automatically by itself, just to have. Not even because it's not even because it could be an emergency vehicle. My camera's dropping here. I have it on a little magnet mount here. But speaking of the camera dropping, so a lot of the comments that I'm getting is, how does the vehicle ride? What's the ride like? Keep in mind, it's a PPV. It's a police, pursuit vehicle. It's the suspension's different. The suspension's hard. So as you can see right now in the video, I'm bouncing around. I just have under 7,500 miles, and the suspension is stiff. It's rough. We've taken it on a trip to Dallas for work-related stuff. This is not going to work. Let's try like that. We've taken it to Dallas for work-related stuff. From Houston to Dallas, a little bit over a 4-hour drive. We took my vehicle. My vehicle is one of two. We ordered two of the same Tahoes. Mine has the lesser miles because my counterpart drives a little bit more home. But we took mine. I was doing about 70, 75 average, we weren't in any rush. The truck did go into 4-cylinder mode a lot. We ended up getting an average of 22.5 miles to the gallon for the entire trip, which is awesome. But the ride was rough. It's just rough. It is what it is, guys. I mean, there's some things you can do with it, but I mean, this vehicle is purpose built, so you're going to get what you're going to get. Some of the things that we learned from Harvey, again, this vehicle was involved. We had at one point that the shelters that we were starting up in our city were going to be using Red Cross, and it was so flooded that Red Cross cannot bring in their supply trucks with all their the kits for their shelters. So we got tasked with taking one of our city box trucks and meeting up with the Red Cross somewhere and putting all their supplies into our box truck. I'm actually a firefighter with the city as well, so I have a special license that I can drive the big box trucks. So me, my counterpart, and one of the guys we work with in the health department took our two Tahoes, and went out with this box truck, and pretty much right in the eye of the storm of Harvey, or what you would call the eye, and we drove into downtown Houston. Basically, I had a Tahoe in front of me, a Tahoe behind me, and I was in the box truck where, they were basically escorting me. Anyways, we got downtown. It wasn't as flooded. Everything had already kind of receded. But as we were there with the Red Cross and they were loading up our truck, it started raining. It started raining and it wouldn't stop. It took them about 45 minutes to load up this box truck. By the time we finished up with the box truck being loaded, the streets were flooded. The Tahoes were barely a month old, if not more than a month old, and I was worried. I had, a guy I worked with driving my Tahoe. We had about 4 volunteers from the Red Cross in our vehicles while we were driving through downtown. They were bringing them back to our side of the city so they can, start up these shelters. And the water was high. We were really worried that we were going to damage these trucks. They sit low, they have a low center of gravity, and it all worked out. Everything's sealed. We didn't go through anything crazy. Mind you, they were brand new trucks, and we're lucky enough that we're able to get those kind of things provided to us for our work. So we're obviously not going to do anything to our vehicles that are going to put them in a state that we're going to lose them. We just don't do that. But so one of the lessons learned with that is, especially with us, because we do actively go out in these events, if and when they happen, we're probably going to end up lifting the vehicles just a bit. There's a package. I don't remember what company makes it, but it is specifically for the PPV. I know here in Houston, 4 Wheel Parts has it. There's only one kit that pops up with when you put the specifications that you're putting on a Tahoe PPV, and I think it says it gives it a 3-inch lift. For us, I think it's going to be just perfect because, again, the Tahoes are they're already low. They have a low profile. The package that we're getting also will do a different set of rims and tires. I don't know how it's supposed to ride. Everybody that we've gotten information from says that it does significantly change the ride. It makes it a little more comfortable, makes it a little bit more smoother. So if you want to do that kind of modification to the Tahoe, that's going to help you out. But going back, the ride is really stiff. One thing I noticed, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I may move my camera a little bit. The back seats, when they're empty and I'm driving down the road, you actually see the single seat, which is the one on the shotgun side. It's actually doing this as you're driving. It's vibrating. It's funny. The guys in the back, when I do have passengers, it's very hard for them to text. It's very hard for them to read on their phone. They end up getting car sick really quickly. Obviously, having the above ACs help out, but they're not able to really use anything in the back. They can communicate with us, like a normal conversation, but who does that who does that anymore? A little bit of engine performance again. I mentioned before, it goes into 4-cylinder mode. It is the 5.3 EcoBoost, or not EcoBoost, I'm sorry, Ecotec. I think they call it the Ecotec 3. 4-cylinder mode. In the city, I'm still averaging anywhere from usually between 13.5 and 13.6 miles per gallon combined, and I do a lot of city driving. On the highway, it does really well. It goes into 4-cylinder mode a lot when you're just cruising around. It averages anywhere from I think 18, maybe 20 if I'm lucky. But it does really well. It does have a big gas tank. I think it's 28 gallons. So the range is usually around 400 miles, 420 miles depending. So again, I mentioned I was a fireman. I also have, which I didn't do a video on because it was when I took delivery of it, it was upfitted. I have a red 2017 police interceptor utility, which is the Explorer. Comparing the two, obviously the Explorer is a much comfortable ride. The seats are better in the Tahoe, and as far as performance, we have for our fire vehicles the 3.7 regular naturally aspirated V6, which is perfectly fine. I think it's at 300. No, I don't even think it's 300. Maybe 305 horsepower, and all-wheel drive. So that vehicle is actually what we give out to our police officers for our city as well, and it's adequate. It does what it needs to do. The gas mileage, for whatever reason, on that Explorer is terrible. It averages 13 combined, even on the city. The first day I got it, I was actually going to training in College Station, and it had 100 miles on it. I drove to College Station, and it averaged 17 miles to the gallon on the highway from here to College Station, which is about 150 miles. And I don't know why. I was not, it was a new car, not even broken in yet, so I was just cruising, maybe doing 70, 75. but yeah, it was terrible, and I haven't really experienced anything higher than that. Anyways, this is about the Tahoe. So the Tahoe, I can tell you, is fast. It is fast. I do not do any type of pursuing. I don't do any type of I'm not a cop, nor do I operate as one, so I don't have to pursue. But I know getting on the on-ramps of highways, getting on just driving around, the Tahoe is very, very fast. As compared to a civilian Tahoe, it rides stiffer, so it seems a little quicker. The power band is definitely there. It sticks around. When this transmission shifts from first, second, and third, you feel that shift, and it's not a harsh shift, but you feel the power band re-engage once it shifts. I mean, it's constantly driving. It's constantly wanting to go. It's great. I haven't, in just 7,500 miles, I haven't seen any type of reduction in power. One of the things we had with the 16 Tahoes that we were ordering for the 16 and 15 Tahoes that we were ordering for our police officers is that the engines were burning oil somehow. And not just one or two Tahoes, pretty much every one that we ordered for those 2 years were burning oil. So it became kind of a deal that we had to have the officers check their oil every time they went to go put fuel at our maintenance facility. I do the same thing. They asked us to do the same thing. I haven't seen anything. The vehicle's only been through one oil change, and even when it did that oil change, it wasn't the oil didn't seem burned or anything. But just had a request, if my employer gives me a vehicle that's fairly nice, and they ask me, hey, all we ask is that you check the oil every time you put fuel. You got it. So that's what I do. Again, I haven't noticed any issue with the burning of the oil on the 2017. Let me see here. I'm on my way to work, but I'm almost there. But I guess I can maybe show a little bit. Again, the Tahoe is it's very, very quick. I'm sorry, very fast. The Explorer is quick. It's just not very fast. But the Tahoe is very fast. Let's see if you can hear something here. See, I'm already at 50, and it gets there really quickly. Whenever you go and you get this, whether you're going to get it brand new or you're going to get it used. So mind you, if you get it brand new, you will need some sort of letterhead, some sort of permission slip, if you would, from a chief of police, your fleet administrator for your department, anything like that, before you personally buy these vehicles. I'm not sure of the actual cost. I mentioned earlier to one of the commenters that when I tried to, man, this is really falling off. I have my magnet in my vent mount so it could get a little higher. But when I personally tried to get a PPV through my department as well, but it was a personal buy, so obviously they didn't give me the special pricing. It was around $41,000, and it was just as this one is configured. Again, with the carpet, with the civilian center console, with the Bluetooth OnStar, with the remote start, with the trailer package, and the did I say carpet? The carpet, if I didn't mention it already. But I think what we end up paying, because we buy in bulk, obviously, I think we end up paying somewhere around $34,000 or $35,000, or maybe even $32,000 for each Tahoe. For me, $41,000 for this Tahoe personally was not gonna. Nah, I'm not doing it. Sorry, I'd rather buy a used one with all the bells and whistles, which are really nice, by the way. Updates. So my cousin is a police officer, so he got permission to buy a brand new PPV, from the department. He bought a black one, and he was actually able, from the dealer, they ordered it. It wasn't installed from the factory, but they ordered it and they installed it at the Chevy dealer. He got the full MyLink system, the screen that goes up and down like the one that's in the Tahoe LTs. He didn't get the Bose speakers, but it all came together. He has the navigation screen with the full Bluetooth, the full phone, all that good stuff. And on top of that, they were able to order him a third row. So in his PPV, he has a third row seat. Apparently what this company does, what the dealer does is actually sells Suburbans and stuff to a funeral home around the Houston area. And obviously for a funeral home, you don't need the third row. So they pull the third row out and they just keep it. The dealer does, whoever buys it is just like, we don't need it. So what the dealer does is, apparently you get on a list, and I can't remember if I'm on a list or not. I did call and find out. But you get on a list, and when they get a Suburban in or a Tahoe, whatever they're going to use, and they pull the third row out, they call the customers up. And it just so happened when he bought his Tahoe, they had one available, so they added on their price. I think they charged them around $1,500, and that was for the third row, the all the hardware involved, because obviously there is no seat belts or anything in this Tahoe PPV. They have to be ordered and they have to be installed. And obviously, if you don't put the seat belts, it's not very safe to go ahead and utilize a third row like that. But they removed his carpet, they cut it out properly, they put it in. If I can get to him, I'll mention to him that people have asked, and maybe I can go see his Tahoe and maybe take a picture or take a video of his entertainment center and then his third row, because that's pretty cool. A lot of us are buying the PPVs because they're cheaper. You know, they're just cheaper. And to be able to utilize the PPV with the third row, that gives you everything. It gives you the utility side, the people mover side. I mean, that's great. So I'm going to find out more about that. I'm fixing to pull in my office. So if you have any more questions, hopefully I answered a bulk of the questions. Feel free to shoot me a comment. I usually I do get alerts on my Gmail account, so I will try to write you back as soon as possible. That's it, guys. Thanks for the comments. I guess maybe I'll go ahead and do a video on my fire unit, just because this is starting to become a thing, I guess. But yeah, thanks for the comments.